death is the expiry date of your gross body. The soul doesn't die. And I'm a complete believer of this, the Punarapi Janam, Punarapi Maranam, the soul's journey continues. Unfortunately, everything is not logically explainable. That the earth is now orbiting sun at 107,000 kilometers per hour and has been doing this for millions of years. And in that we are also in our own axis turning around. In 24 hours we turn one full rotation. And the whole thing is hurtling around the sun at 107,000 kilometers per hour.
And we are still stable.
And Axis had other dimensions as well. In 2007 or 8, we came up with we designed a mobile diagnostics van. I still remember that video we took.
I still want to steer back to the spiritual part of it, or even for the...
that track, yeah.
I really want to see the aspect of this different part, right? Working in healthcare, working in so many different locations, I'm pretty confident you would have seen different cultures, different people. What is God for you?
God for me now is a more sharper definition than God at that time. Right? But coming back to that track, right? So Ramakrishna mission and some impressions about wanting to do service as a sannyasi and all that. Then I'm a follower of Kanchi Shankara Math. So the previous Shankaracharya is now no more. There was a Chandrasekharendra Saraswati. He's called reverentially even today as Mahapariva. I consider him as almost avatar of Shiva. So there are many writings about his talks. It's called Devatin Kurul. I have the book, full volume. So I read. So he's an encyclopedia of many things and many concepts about God and also destiny. So he also talks about a lot about destiny and stuff like this. So I was then quickly reading him, I got introduced to the concept of Advaita. So that comes to the concept of God, right? So Shankara's Advaita, I mean, concept became much sharper when I read the Viveka Chudamani. That must be 2004 or 5. So Chinmayananda's commentary on Viveka Chudamani. So it's a work of Adi Shankara. And Adi Shankara then argues like a brilliant lawyer as to why there are no two. There is nothing like you and God. It is one. That's the principle of Advaita. Yeah? But when I read it, it was so clear to follow. He argues like a lawyer as to why you and God are not different. Of course, at one point, Swami Chinmayananda almost roars in that chapter to say, you are God. I'm only jumping some loops here. I have the Bhakti Kapaleshwara temple, so I used to consider God separately and all that. But then this whole Advaita principle, then other thoughts like...
But how do you see the Dvaita principle and Advaita existing at the same time?
Yeah. So I can tell you my current understanding. So it's a process of evolution. So maybe to come to what is it now, right? And then curious always also about what science says and all that. And I see brilliant correlation. Science talks about Big Bang.
the science has its own limitations.
Yeah. I'll come to where I see why Advaita makes sense to me intellectually. Yeah, in real.
No, I would want to know that. But what I also want to know is the existence. I'm pretty confident that people challenge me on my practices, which I love to. But I'm a very proud Hindu, if you want it or not. There are phases where I don't believe in God, where I'm agnostic. Even today, it's very blurry in the sense. But I'm pretty confident on the start. But including Charuvaka, as a principle of philosophies, including Dvaita, Advaita, we have different frame that everything fits inside this particular drum called Hindutva.
Yes.
It's very diverse. You can be a Hindu even if you don't believe in God.
Oh, yeah.
It need not be.
You can be a complete Nastika.
It's a Nastika itself is a principle
Yes.
in itself. Right? It's a defined principle. It's
Yeah.
not like
Perfectly fine.
it's not you have to believe in God. But then there is this. I have this coming because of because I go back to your statement to tell. At some time I heard Murugan, and I didn't have a belief in Jesus.
Yeah.
It's contradicting.
Yeah.
In the face of you see Dvaita, Advaita exist.
Yeah, it exists.
But yes, but some religion is over the above or I don't know if that is what you meant or not. But for me personally, I don't. This is so much depth that I don't need it. The question is more about how do you see this contrast differences already inside a religion, and how is your evolution towards in the principle of God itself?
Yeah. So things are much more clearer because it's a constant evolution. Understanding gets better every day, faster and better than yesterday every day. Right? So gods exist. So coming back to NMBK, right? So I trust. When Mahapariva, when Sri Chandrasekhar Saraswati, Adi Shankara, if you take even Adi Shankara is a complete Advaiti. And Adi Shankara at the same time has given the highest volume of bhakti shlokas. Pure bhakti, if you want, just learn all of Adi Shankara shlokas, you will learn pure bhakti. You want to learn pure Advaita, learn Adi Shankara shloka. Both, right? So, gods exist. It is basically it comes from the same substratum, right? But for some specific purposes, right, you have a different energy form. Like I am a different energy form, you are a different energy form, and this is finally we are all energy trapped in a form. Science says that as well. Everywhere inside we have atoms, molecules rotating, electrons orbiting everywhere. Right? So it is all energy that is trapped. It's a form of a energy package. Gods in that form are there for as long as people believe that they are people and not the substratum. They need something to go to when they need help. And that is an energy form which can still help you. And you can give it any name. The shapes, of course, are different. And each of these shapes are valid, meaning they are real, like Parameshwara or Parvati or Vishnu. These are concrete, these are defined shapes of energy which you can relate to. Because why would you want to relate to there? Because you believe you are this body and mind, and you believe you have a problem. And when it is beyond you, you need some other support to overcome that. To overcome, either to bear the problem that you have or to overcome the problem. For that, gods in that energy form are real, and there is a way of accessing them. The mantras and shlokas are the codes that relates you to different energy forms. That's why they are different. It's like unlocking or establishing connection. You have a different cable, USB-C versus USB lightning speed, whatever. Only that will work, and those mantras and those meditative techniques are established for that, and then you can establish and you can get the support that you need. And again, I trust like Shankaracharya. When Adi Shankara himself says, Adi Shankara has had conversations with gods. And the same Adi Shankara also talks about Advaita. So, Nirvana Shataka is also from Adi Shankara. And the Annapurnashtakam is also from Adi Shankara. So, they both exist. And, Ashtavakra, actually the Ashtavakra gives a great way to visualize it. Ashtavakra was the guru of Janaka. And Janaka himself was such a highly knowledgeable Vedic scholar. But Janaka also has this questions about what is real life and all that. And Ashtavakra, he is called Ashtavakra because his spine has 8 bends. Instead of Tribhanga, he has got Ashtabhanga. That's why he is called Ashtavakra. So there's an Ashtavakra Gita. It's the shortest form of Advaita, but the most sharpest one. So in Ashtavakra, he gives a beautiful example of how to relate it. He's saying, imagine an ocean and imagine waves. There are big waves, small waves and all. And imagine if a wave thinks it is different from the ocean. And the waves think I am a small wave and that's a big wave, that wave moves faster and this wave is bigger and this wave is running. And he says, imagine that the minute you have a form and the minute you have, and I have my own explanation to, and keep without feeling always the conflict about these concepts. I believe in this Sthula Sharira, I believe in Sushma Sharira. The soul is also an energy form, but subtler energy form. We are a gross energy form. And it all comes from the substratum of the same energy, and it will merge back into the same energy at one point. But as long as it thinks it is different, it continues to continue the journey. The realization when it comes that it is not different, it is actually arising from there and it will also merge back from there. Then the journey continues for the soul for some more time till it realizes it is not different. And that is where in the Viveka Chudamani, at one point, Adi Shankara says, he talks about...
Just to continue for a small bit, I would like to come back on this part. Please hold a thought. If that is the case, what is death for you?
Death is the...
In the same...
So death is the expiry date of your gross body.
But the concept of soul in itself.
That's what I'm saying. The soul doesn't die. The soul doesn't die. And I am a complete believer of this, the Punarabi Janam, Punarabi Maranam, the soul's journey continues. I'm coming to that. Right? So as long as the soul has a desire, and it has a desire that it needs something that it doesn't have, I want it. As long as that desire is there, which itself is, that's why I'm saying in the Viveka Chudamani, and it's also some of the beautiful shlokas in Tamil and all of it. So it says the only desire worth having is a desire not to have a desire. When you read that shloka, that's it. That explains, right? And that is when, so when you look at this Jivan Muktas, what is different in the Jivan Muktas with the normal souls is that they have reached that state. They truly don't have any desires. So they don't want to have desire. That's the only desire worth having. And when I read that from Viveka Chudamani, I am trying to live that. So I remember having conversations with Uma. I used to tell her, just imagine, known human history, 10,000 years, 12,000 years, how many million people were born and dead? Yeah, we think that it's all important, but if you fast forward 10,000 years of human history, how many million people were born and dead? And is there any purpose? Zero purpose. Whether you are the greatest of the emperor, or you are the poorest of the person that you lived for some time, it simply had no purpose. There is no real purpose of this life. We chase imaginary purposes in life, and eventually all this does not make sense. So to really be in a position not to have a desire is the real blessing to have. And she used to say, I'm worried with you. You might one day
You had anyway plans to become a sannyasi.
You might one day run away and stop talking all this. No, it's not beyond me. I don't want to listen to all this. But my struggle those days, and the struggle is getting better these days. Right? My struggle has been, intellectually I got it many years back. The Advaita intellectually made perfect sense to me. And more also, like I said, also with science. And science talks about Big Bang. Everything came from Big Bang. Whatever we see, the multiplicity that we see today, in the Big Bang, the first few seconds, huge fusion, that's when the elements got formed. From there, other things got formed with all this fusion, and then it's expanding. Science also says you can't add energy, you can't reduce energy. Pure science facts. These are fundamental facts. Science also says the expansion, one day it will also collapse back. The point of singularity will come back in a few billion years. The same science says sun's half-life is done now. 5.4 billion. Sun will only exist for another 5.4 billion. Imagine when the sun is not going to exist anymore, the whole solar system will collapse. And there are millions of such universes that are collapsing. So science says this Big Bang will happen, and then science says there will be a collapse one day back to the point of singularity. And it says this will happen. Exactly the same thing is in the Upanishad. Exactly. In Mundaka Upanishad, in the meanwhile, I'm a big fan of Swami Sarvapriyananda, his podcast, and I listened to probably 200 hours of his podcast. And the course of Mundaka Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, exactly the same Q&A. And then it says the same thing will happen. And then the question was, and again, why does it happen? So my struggle used to be, okay, but why am I born? Ramana Maharishi, I also read Ramana's life biography, long, very deep into Ramana, meaning to try to understand him, his questions, who am I? And the question is, why am I here? If I am here, why am I here? Then we'll say karma, the karma theory.
What is religion for you, sir?
For me, religion is simple. Religion for me is just a way, a code, way of life where a society can live harmoniously with each other. It gives individuals a certain peace of mind. It also creates a code where people can live with each other harmoniously.
So the God is a bit more beyond religion.
Yeah. So see, again I said, God, the Hindu philosophy has mastered this art of energy systems. So whether you call Shiva, because if you read,
there are two instances I would want to. I have two specific questions. At least you were talking in Pahalgam incident. We had met in Erlangen place where the question is mostly to tell. It's a continuation of what you're trying to tell. Is to tell that okay, we are having science and religion and things like this. But we are also having politics. There are a lot of political work that is there inside Hinduism and stuff like this. I remember that we were all there to show consolidation, and then you expressed that, look, I understand that peace is one of them. but there are different tools that has been subscribed. For example, Dandam is a Dashaguna, it's a 10th part. But in your trying to do, there are different techniques available. Right? The view of the relevance of the traditions that we are having, right, on how we even act on certain points, or even the touch point, how relevant it is today, or how relevant the whole, I don't want to use the word, but I'll still use it, how relevant the word Sanatana Dharma is relevant today.
The whole purpose, having been born, how do you live a peaceful life, physically, mentally healthy life, and also harmoniously with others and along with nature? That's the simplest definition for Sanatana Dharma. See, unfortunately, everything is not logically explainable. Yeah, because that the earth is now orbiting sun at 107,000 kilometers per hour and has been doing this for millions of years. And in that, we are also in our own axis turning around. In 24 hours, we turn one full rotation. And the whole thing is hurtling around the sun at 107,000 kilometers per hour.
And we are still stable.
And we are stable. Yeah. Actually, recently I asked Grok, explain to me simply, why are we stable? Beautiful explanation. It says human minds are tuned to sense change in acceleration. So we've been rotating at that 107,100 kilometers since ever. Because once the solar dust was formed, then we are rotating at that speed. So it's at a constant speed. And there is some small change in speed, but it says you can only observe the change in acceleration if it happens in shorter time. The change in the Earth's rotation acceleration happens over 6 months. A slow change which you will not perceive. So our minds are capable of perceiving change in acceleration. That's why you don't feel it. And second, when everything is moving, there is no reference for you to see the speed. When you're sitting in a train, you have a reference of a mountain. When the train is passing through, you know you're passing through. But if everything around is also moving, it's a constant picture in a way. It's not a moving picture for you. Right? So when you think of this, and when you say that in the solar system, 99.5% of the mass is in the sun. The remaining 0.5% is what we think the rest of the solar system is. And then in that, we are, how big is that part? And what is the coincidence? There's so much of coincidences that happens as to why this life has happened, whatever be the thinking ability, that there are many things, there are jada and there are life forms, and how many can actually reflect, how many forms of life can actually reflect and think through a very small, minute percentage, and that we are, it's all, many of these things are beautiful coincidences. We have to simply appreciate that coincidence and nothing more, that we are able to reflect. Having been born, right, and Buddhism says it right to some extent. Buddha says, dukkam, 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 kshanikam, kshanikam, kshanikam. He's saying, Buddha says, Buddha is the opposite of Advaita. Buddha says, dukkam, dukkam, sarvam dukkam, kshanikam, kshanikam. So he's saying everything is misery and everything is temporary.
And even the misery is temporary.
Yeah, and he's saying everything is, but your life for you, it's full-time dukkam.
Yeah.
And he's saying kshanikam, everything is temporary. Advaita says, brightness, 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 and happy, Sachitananda. Dukkam, 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 Sachitananda, Sachitananda, Anandam, Anandam, Anandam. They actually are not very, in a way they are not different. Just the way how you express it. Here it says it's Sachit Ananda, and it's saying it's Dukkam. Because you think in that soul, from the soul's perspective, samsara is Dukkam.
Bondage.
Samsara, of course, has a mix. Yeah? Some people have a bigger percentage of dukkham, some people have lesser percentage of dukkham. And then you wonder what Mahaparivar, Sri Chandrasekhar Saraswati, he asked when people from abroad used to come and ask him about this Punarapi Janam, do you believe in rebirth? Christianity doesn't believe in rebirth and all that. Then he once asked a team of people to go to a hospital close by, Kanchipuram, small hospital, and then just go to the maternity ward. Yeah. And then they went and saw a few children born. Then he's saying, you saw a few children born. Some of them were born to rich people and some of them were born to really poor people. What explains that? What is your fault that you were born in a poor family? Or what did you do good that you were born? So can you explain it? And then you asked about the role of religion. So Sanatana Dharma tries to rationalize these things in a way that it either calms down your mind or there is some element of truth in it. Mm-hmm. So the karma theory is a part of the truth in it. But everything can't be explained by karma. Our mind, if your family has only misery, that you have diseases, incurable diseases, you had apamrityu in your family, then the karma theory you will say cannot be, it doesn't explain, right? And then it says, okay, when you have no peace of mind, then it says go and surrender to God, you will find your peace. And people find it. So it is all about calming down your mind, explaining as much as possible rationally. Karma theory tries to explain rationally. I would say 90% of the people can understand. See, karma, you did something in your previous birth or something happened, then you don't fight it anymore. So okay,
it's
now
it's difficult to digest.
But we believe that if I do something now, if I do something good to somebody, they are good to me. So you agree with this positive mirror neurons concept of you positive.
It more than, at least personally, more than agreeing, it's visible that so you do something good.
Exactly.
They also tend to do something.
In this life, you can understand it. So they expand the theory. So once you believe in that theory, it somewhat calms down your mind. You are not blaming yourself or you're not blaming your bad luck. You say, okay, and then they tell you if you do something, you might overcome. And for some people, they can actually overcome physically or their minds are calmer.
But also I'm just extrapolating, I'm not putting words in your mouth. But how do you see, is this also a tool of
manipulation?
Not manipulation.
You can
manipulation is a negative word, but it can be a placebo effect. Placebo effect is not a negative word. You can call placebo effect as manipulation.
But as long as, that's what I'm saying, that's the beauty of Sanatana Dharma. As long as it is still keeping your mental health safe. And if it can help you to calm down your mind, and if it is not at the cost of somebody else.
Or self. It can be cost of yourself also.
No, but Hindu Dharma calms you down. If you have mentally...
No, but there are tools, for example, kriyas and then active kriyas inside, which will be also possibility to be misused.
But a very small percentage misuse. Very small percent. Majority of the people, where they follow. See, how many people have the ability, have the big effort to do tantric side? Very minuscule 1% of the people. And if you believe in that, then you know that the energy systems can be also used for that.
For sure.
That kind of then validates the ability of the energy system to play
the other side, yes.
But the majority of the people, most of the people want to get on with life and with peace of mind. Even in misery, their situation is terrible, but they can still keep their mental balance. Because if you keep, that is why in a way it says, right, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, because it can't be that only you are happy. Imagine in your family only, take a family, in a family of five children, one child is doing very well and the remaining 4 are doing terrible. Still your life is not great. Yeah? If you are really doing good and everything around your society is in a misery, you're not going to feel good, really. Maybe for a short time. So that's why I say societal harmony.
I really want to, maybe you can also tell your journey of, right now we are in here already speaking about God, things like this. Now you've also started a journey to build a temple. Maybe you can also give an introduction about that itself, because I have questions about temple in itself. But I would want you to give an introduction for at least the viewers to see that the journey which you are taking right now. And then I'm pretty confident that we need also the people's support for all these things. So this is also a sweet spot to get introduced to the topic itself.
I am.
And I would want you to introduce the topic.